Good to see you back at the Ramen Spot.
After Shiny put up his video talking about the build he was using in our run through of Baldur's Gate 3, he asked me if I wanted a video where I break down the build I was using. I said sure, why not? It's simple, straightforward, and easy to follow, but it is effective in its own right. Oh, by the way, if you haven't noticed, I am neither Shiny Trophy nor Fox Phoenix. I'll give the mic back to them after this, I swear. My name's Isaiah, and this is the build I'm using in our run through of Baldur's Gate 3. Starting off, we are going to put our first level into Fighter, which gives us access to the ability Second Wind for some self-healing as a bonus action, proficiency in every weapon and armor type including shields, and proficiency in strength and constitution saving throws. Next, we have to pick a fighting style. Now, me being mostly ranged in this, you would think I would pick archery, but no, I'm actually going to go with 2-weapon fighting. You will see why in a second. And because I mainly use ranged attacks, I'm going to prioritize dexterity, followed by constitution because more health is never a bad thing. And for me, being the quote-unquote face of the party, I have to have some charisma to help out with that. For our next level, we are sticking with Fighter, bringing it to level 2, which gives us access to the famous Action Surge, giving us a second action for 1 turn for the cost of absolutely nothing, and being an ability that recharges on a short rest, so for us, that's after every fight, a very, very powerful tool. Next level, we're sticking with Fighter again to bring it to level 3, which means now we get to pick our subclass, or what flavor of fighter do we want to be. You can pick either Eldritch Knight, combining your martial arts with the arcane arts. You can pick Champion, improving on the abilities you already have as a fighter, but for me, I'm going to pick Battle Master, someone who uses maneuvers and abilities to control the battlefield. I'm able to pick 3 of those maneuvers right now, so the 3 I'm going to pick are Precision Attack to help me give a better chance to hit my opponent, Disarming Attack in hopes of the enemy will drop their weapon, and Trip Attack, hoping they would go prone. Going Fighter level 4 now, which means we can now pick a feat, and for this we are just going to keep it very simple. We are going to pick the ability improvement, put a point in dexterity, put a point in constitution, bringing them to 18 and 16, bringing their modifiers to +4 and +3 respectively. Going level 5 in Fighter gives us an extra attack, so now we can attack twice per action instead of just once. Sticking with Fighter again for our next level, bringing it up to level 6. Now, one perk about fighters is that at level 6, they can pick another feat, something no other class can do. So, if you were going to copy this build you're seeing here, you can pick whatever you want. You can go with the ability improvement, or you can pick any feat that fits your play style. However, for me, being the face of the party, I'm going to go with skilled because I kind of need access to the face skills like persuasion and deception, but feel free to do whatever you want here. For our next level, we're going to give Fighter a break, and what we're going to do, we're going to dip into the rogue class. Now, doing so gives us access to sneak attack, and we get light armor proficiency, which as a fighter we already have. We also get a skill to be proficient in, and 2 skills that we already are proficient in to be expertise in. The skills you pick here are completely up to you and how you're playing the game. For our next level, we are sticking with Rogue, bringing it to level 2, giving us access to Cunning Action. Now, Cunning Action allows us to either hide, dash, or disengage as a bonus action, which is huge for what we're trying to accomplish here. Putting our next level into Rogue, bringing it to level 3, so now we can pick what is essentially our second subclass. Now, the Rogue subclasses are unique and allow you to do different things, like the Arcane Trickster, which allows you to combine your martial abilities with your arcane abilities, and then there's the why did that sound so familiar? Hold on. There's the Assassin, which gives you abilities to try to take out your enemy quickly, but the one we're going to pick is Thief, for one reason and one reason alone, Fast Hands, which gives us a second bonus action. This is huge a key part of what we're trying to achieve here. Our next level is going into Rogue, bringing it to level 4, and because it's level 4 now, we get to pick another feat, and for this one, this is another one of those simple ones. We're taking the ability improvement, bringing our dexterity from 18 to the max score of 20, bringing the ability modifier from +4 to +5. For our second to last level, we are going back to Tried and True Fighter, bringing it to level 7, giving us another superiority die we can use, and letting us pick 2 more of those maneuvers. For this one, we are going to become Weave Nation certified by picking evasive footwork and riposte as sort of a punish if anyone tries to hit us and miss. And for our final level, we are putting it into Fighter, bringing it to level 8, which means we get to pick another feat. And if you have looked online at all, if you have talked to a friend at all, if you have seen a video at all about how to make an effective ranged build, then you know what feat is coming. It is too good to pass up. We are picking up Sharpshooter, -5 to hit, +10 damage. The reward is well worth the risk. Next up for the items I'm using. Now, keep in mind, this is not for optimization. This is just what I have, what I'm wearing, what's been working for me. Starting with the helmet, I am wearing the Grimskull helm, which protects me from taking critical damage from critical hits. I get resistance to fire damage, and I get a cast of Hunter's Mark, which, while maintaining concentration, any enemy I mark with this, it takes an extra 1d6 damage when being hit with a weapon attack. For the cloak, I'm wearing the Nymph Cloak, which gives me a cast of Dominate Person once per long rest, which gives me a chance to have one of the enemies fight on my side for a while. For the boots, we're wearing the Disintegrating Nightwalkers, and wearing these means we cannot be enwebbed, entangled, ensnared, and cannot slip on grease or ice. This is huge for us because it means anything that tries to stop our movement is all of a sudden ineffective, and being unable to slip on grease or ice means I don't have to worry about slipping and falling prone. For our armor, we are using the Flame Enamel armor, which gives us a +2 bonus to initiative rolls, resistance to fire damage, no they don't stack, and a +2 bonus to saving throws. It also gives us access to a cast of Fire Shield, which deals fire damage to any enemy that successfully hits us with a melee attack. For our gloves, we are using Legacy of the Masters, giving us a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls with weapons. These gloves are why I did not pick archery when picking my fighting style. Not only do I get the same +2 bonus to attack, but I also get that +2 bonus to damage with weapons as well. The first ring we're using is the Strange Conduit ring. So while concentrating on a spell, our weapon attacks deal an additional 1d4 psychic damage, which means if I have Hunter's Mark active or if I have Fire Shield active, that's just another 1d4 of psychic damage. And hey, damage is damage. The second ring we're using is the Caustic Band, which lets our weapons deal an additional 2 acid damage. And again, hey, damage is damage. And our amulet is the Amulet of Restoration, giving us a cast of Healing Word and Mass Healing Word once per long rest. The melee weapon we have is the Blood of Lathander, mainly for Sunbeam and Lathander's Blessing, meaning if I'm ever knocked to 0, I get 2 to 12 hit points immediately, so it's essentially a free res. The shield I'm using is a +1 shield, meaning it boosts my AC by 3 instead of 2, making me harder to hit. And now for our main weapons, the Hellfire Hand Crossbow and a Hand Grow +1 in our offhand. Now, the Hellstalker ability I don't use too much because we're not really going to be hiding. They're mainly here to be our main hand and our offhand crossbows. And that's the build. Simple and straightforward, like I said it would be, right? Notice how I never really mentioned what the goal was for this build. Like Shiny's build, it was all about going in, taking hits, and dealing all of the damage, right? This build is not about specializing in one thing. This build is about being versatile, about being able to adapt to what's going on in the battle. That's why it's huge to have that second bonus action. Because let's say you took a really hard hit and you need to get away. You can use one action to take a potion and the other action to disengage and run away. And then you still have your action to fire your 2 attacks. If you look around and everything is fine, then guess what? You have 4 attacks, essentially, with those 2 bonus actions. 2 from your main hand and 2 from your offhand. Or if you need to use your action to do something else, maybe you need to help your teammate that's down, or maybe you need to cast a spell, you can do that and your 2 bonus actions are still there to where you can still have your 2 attacks. This build is so versatile to the point where you don't even have to be a fighter to do it. You can be any martial class that gets that extra attack at 5th level. So you can be a paladin, you can be a ranger, you can be a barbarian, you can be any one of those. You don't even have to be ranged for it to work. You can be melee and this build still works. Which is why I love this build so much. It's not about what it is, it's about what you do with it and how you can be effective with it. So yeah, that's about all I have for you, and that's about all the time they had for me. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me to the end of this, and I don't know when I'm going to see you again, but come on back to the ramen spot anyway. When you do, they're going to have a nice hot steamy bowl for you, and because I said that, now they legally have to oblige. But if you'll excuse me, it is 12:30 in the morning. I am tired. I am going to bed. See ya!